Okay.
I
All
will
right, begin.
share the screen. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Sana. Today we'll begin with understanding the basics of big data. I will cover like in upcoming sessions we'll learn in depth, but today we'll have a introduction part. So yeah, I'll begin. So uh, so now we want to understand what is big data. So and as the name suggests, we know that we are gonna handle a huge amount of data, like the volume would be very much. And how what is that, what is big data all about? So big data is a term that describes extremely large volume of data sets, both structured and unstructured. So here we'll also understand what is structured and unstructured. And yeah, we in the next slide we will see. So here you see that in structured data, we there the data can be displayed in rows, columns, and relational databases. Whereas if you see in unstructured data, the data cannot be displayed in rows, columns, and relational databases. The and in structured we see that it is in numbers, data, dates, and string formats. Whereas in unstructured, there's going to be images, audio files, videos, word processing files, emails, spreadsheets. So these are the differences we see in structured and unstructured. It is estimated, like the structured data is very low in number compared to the unstructured data. We'll be dealing with lot of unstructured data, like these data from different sources in different formats. It's going to be in huge number. So this is big data all about. Is the big data all about? It would require a lot of handling and managing. When it is structured data, it requires less storage, whereas when in unstructured it requires a lot of storage. And in earlier days we have seen that the data used to get stored in Excel sheets. Is anyone talking? Oh no. Okay, sorry. So hello.
Son, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I think I mean I heard some noises, so I had stopped. Sorry, I will continue. So yeah, in earlier days we have seen that the data used to get stored in Excel sheets and it was manageable. The data was less, but now we see that in we the data is in very large volume, and in near future it is always be growing exponentially, and it would be a huge amount of data. So we need to have a strategy or two ways where we can where if we are thinking to build some applications or have projects, we need to be prepared for handling such huge data. So when the data is structured, we see that it is easy to manage, and it can be protected with with solutions, legacy solutions. But when the data is so unstructured and in such huge amount, it the managing is very difficult, and it leads more security, and the protection needs to be well, very nice. So we'll see how big data is gonna help us in this. solving the solutions. Solving the problems to hand and to have better solutions and to have better predictions in future. And we see that such data needs to be analyzed computationally to reveal the patterns and the trends, like the associations, especially relating to human behavior and interactions. And we need to understand that from where does the big data is gonna come from. And this bulk amount of data is generated from three main sources: the social data, the machine data, and the transactional data. So these are the resources. So these three sources, we will be getting a large amount of data coming. We see in our daily life we use this so many social. We have so many social platforms, and we are actively using this in our daily lives. The social data comes into picture where we are liking pictures, uploading videos, or, retweeting and putting comments on the videos. So this is also a source where this data is gathered and it's stored. So social data comes from likes, tweets and retweets, comments, video uploads, and general media that are uploaded and shared via the world's favorite social media platforms. So here we understand how we get the information from the social medium. And next we'll see what is machine data. Machine data is defined as the information that we get from industrial equipments, like the sensors that are installed in the machines, or the weblogs that are used for tracking the user behavior. The medical devices have sensors. There are smart meters, and there are surveillance cameras, and information from satellites, and all the gaming information, and things are growing. Like every day we see that the data is always growing. It's not gonna stop or become less, but we are always gonna face a huge amount of data, a larger volume, and there is going to be variety in the data each time. So, and next we have is transactional data. So here, transactional data, we do online shopping, or even if we are not doing online shopping, or we are going to the grocery stores, but there are information there. We have receipts getting generated, the products are getting purchased. So even from online and offline, we'll have information about the transactions that we do every day. So here we see that transaction data is generated from both online and offline. We have invoices, payment orders, storage records, delivery receipts, etc. Yeah. If you have any questions, please let me know. So next, so now we need to understand why is big data important here. Now, like we are dealing with such big data. So what are we gonna do with this such a huge amount of data? The reason we need this is because so that we are saving time. Because if we are gonna handle such big data manually, then it is gonna take like forever for us to come to a conclusion or predict something. So it's always better to use whatever the important and the useful information for a particular purpose, which can help us to grow so that the business grows, or have better predictions, or have better solutions for our problems or projects that we can think of. So big data is important because it speeds up and automates tasks that when done manually are slow and inefficient, right? Right. So when we are making use of machines and we are feeding them with this huge data which has valuable insights, then we are gonna work efficiently, and the work would be faster and the predictions would be much better. And yeah, and big data isn't about how much the data is, how we are able to manage it. So even if there is in data, we are going to find that there are a lot of things which are not, that we might not need, but yeah, we need to find only those information that is relevant to our purpose, and it is gonna help us find solutions. And um, and it is important for this data to be analyzed thoroughly so that you get answers for the issues regarding cost and time reduction, new product development, and making smart decisions. Yeah, the time plays an important role. We don't want to waste our time and money. Even if we have nice applications to, uh, if the applications are good, and but if it is very time consuming, or the more we are spending money on managing or over the maintenance of that project, then it is of no use to us. So it's better that we have a better platform where we can manage the data as well and have a good outcome from the project that we want to, or any application that we build. And so here we see that the cloud is the best platform for big data. Many companies are migrating to cloud, so that, yeah, so the all the problems that we are seeing in structured and unstructured data, we want a solution for that. We want to have projects and applications that are gonna work better, faster, and we don't have to deal with all those issues related to the servers or the storage or anything, where we just need to focus on what the project we want to build, and the remaining, if it gets handled by somebody, then it would be nice. So that's why we are like trying to study about the Google Cloud, like how it is the best platform for now for us when it comes to when huge data is involved. So yeah, computing offers access to data storage, processing, and analytics on a more scalable, flexible, cost-effective, and even secure basis. So yeah, we see that when we are moving to cloud, we are gonna have we don't have to worry about how big our data is gonna be or how much it is gonna grow, or even if we begin with a low data information, and we believe that in future that it might grow to a great extent, or or the on a daily basis the data might increase to at certain point and decrease as well, and that gets handled, the traffic that it is gonna face, it should be handled, and we need not we need not worry about that. So the Google platform, the cloud platform, would help us to to um, it's providing a solution to not worry about these things, and then just focus on writing your applications or project, and then they would handle the data storage, how how they would process it internally, or how it scalable it is going to be, or how it flexible, or how the traffic is going to handle. So everything would be handled internally, and we as if we are the application developer, then we don't have to worry about that internal infrastructure or how it is behaving. We just need to see how we can focus just on the coding part, or how we can work on that project. Yeah, so it is going to be cost effective too, and it is also going to be secured. So yeah, these characteristics are essential for customers when data volumes are growing exponentially, to make the storage and the resources available as needed, as well as to get value from the data. So here we understand why the cloud platform is the best for when we are dealing with huge data. So here we are going to see what is an app engine. Okay, and as the name suggests, it is like an engine, like for an application. So if you have an idea to build an application, then we would require something where the application would run, right? So you would have you just have to see if you already have an application built on something, now you want to migrate it to, like, Google Cloud, or you want to start building an application here. So we need to understand what is App Engine gonna do, or what is it exactly. So App Engine is a fully managed serverless platform for developing and hosting web applications at scale. So here Google App Engine is fully managed. Like, it says that the Google will handle everything, the managing part, and it also says that it is it also says that it is serverless platform, which means that we don't have to worry about the configuration or any underlying infrastructure is there above the server. We don't have to worry about that. We just need to focus on the development part of the application, whatever we plan, and like, if it's like hosting the web applications, right? And at scale, like, even if it is now at a not at a very large scale, but later on it would end up, in a very big scale. So we don't have to worry how it is gonna behave in future. It would be handled by the Google App Engine itself. So and we have for development point of view, it's gonna support different languages, framework, or libraries that we want to use in that. So Google App Engine provides certain languages which we can choose, like with any comfortable language that we can choose from there, and then we can start building that application. Or if not from those, like the languages that it provides is like Java, .NET, Python, Node, and Go, and Ruby. So see, these are some of the languages that it supports. But if you have a language, or if you have something in different programming language or different framework, then it has that ability to like, use that custom built-in function it has, and any libraries that we use, it can be like clubbed within that. So it is also capable of both, so the languages that it supports, and programming language that we have already built on, and then we just want to migrate it to this cloud app engine. Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, as it is said serverless because we deploy our application in App Engine, then we don't have to manage the infrastructure underlying where the application is running, right? So yeah, we don't have to worry about the scalability of the platform. Everything related to the big data, like issues, and how big it is going to grow, or how the traffic needs to be handled when it is large data, or when the traffic is low, it would be internally handled. And yeah, so it is completely managed by Google. So here what we learned is, like, Google App Engine is building new applications or migrating the applications to this. So it provides a development platform that is easy to use, right, which is user friendly, and supports comfortable languages like Python, Java, PHP, Ruby, Node, Go, .NET, and also provides support for custom container using any programming language or library, which, it also has a support for custom custom built applications. So, and provides easy monitoring and operations. Yeah. So yeah, so this is the like main important keys that we need to remember to when we want to use Google App Engine. So here I would I could just just demonstrate some part. When if we go to console.cloud.google.com. So you guys can also try going to this link. Yeah, I'm reading yeah, correct. I'm reading the messages now. Yeah, at that time I couldn't see it. Yeah, yeah, correct. This is the correct example if like for big data, like how Facebook handles Twitter, LinkedIn, and other social media. So here, if you want, we can try something out, and we'll see some part of it, App Engine. And when you log in over here, it will like when you click on this, you will find a particular project getting selected. You will be in that, and here you can see all the projects that you have. You can create a new project over here. You can also edit a project ID if you want to change. It is going to be unique for all the projects. You can just say create. You cannot contain the phrase. Okay. Okay, I'll cancel and I'll create one more time. I think if you want, you can keep the project IDs as it is. Yeah, it will give you a project ID, and if you edit, I think you just have to change something. Yeah, so you can say create. Sorry, I think we cannot change the project ID here. I'll create the project. I'll just say create. So from here you can choose. Yes, you'll see that a project has got created. You can select that, and here there are two ways actually to create an application. One is the Cloud Shell. So if you click over here, so it will create a cloud. The terminal opens here at the bottom. Okay, so here you will see that there is your username at Cloud Shell, and this is how it opens. And you can click on this open in new window and this icon, and then it will take you to another window and it will open there. It might ask you for some prompts. You just have to click. I've written the commands here. So like I was saying, there are two options actually to create the application, the browser console and the Cloud Shell. So today what I have explored is about the Cloud Shell in this. So over here, the command that you can use is, first we need to go to that project which is just we created. So if you are able to create that project, you can use this command gcloud config set project, and once you write this, copy the name of the project ID. Yeah, you have to give a project ID. Yeah, I think for me it is already been chosen, the qualified glow, and this is the name. So for you, if it is not done that way, then you can just copy and paste it over here. You can authorize. Yeah, so for me, the project was earlier also the same. So, but if you want to change it to a particular project, then you need to use this command gcloud config set project as this. Here you would be able to switch to different projects from the Cloud Shell. Okay, then you can see I don't have any files in here, and it's just the readme Cloud Shell txt file which is already present. Okay, and is like if we want to, like, we need to install some app engine components. So I tried like this command. So if you guys can also try this one and let me know if it works for you, or otherwise we need to put another command gcloud components install app engine python. So here we are trying to have the Python libraries here, but it didn't work for me. You want me guys? You want me to copy this command and put it in the? I'll just put it in over here. Mostly it would give you an error. Yeah. The earlier command also I'll also put it down so that you can remember. And this is just the project name. This command was like config set project was to change to this different providing the project ID. Okay. And GC, did this work for you? GC component, gcloud component install. For me, it gave me a not valid component name. No, right? So try the other one. Sudo app install Google Cloud SDK app Python. I'll just try this. Okay. Like this.
It's working for me.
It's working for you, Neeta?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think since you have your credit card information in there, so this gcloud components worked for you, right? Install app engine.
No, it did not. This sudo one did.
Yeah.
And it was showing me in the error also.
Oh, okay. For you also, this command showed an error. DC components install.
Yes, and this sudo apt command, it came in error as well. Like to achieve the
Oh,
same result for this installation, we can use this command. It was
oh,
in error.
oh, so you got a different command for this one when, or is it sudo apt get install only, or it's some other command
It's
for you?
same. It's same.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, when I tried, yeah, even it prompted this to use this command, and this worked. So yeah, these are certain commands that I tried, and I don't have a Python file or any application ready to try this. But these are the, here we can work on like Python, like build use Python files, build an application on Python and run. And I can share the command of like how we deploy it. This is just a command since I don't have that application here, so I would share the command with you. Gcloud app deploy, then the project name would be the one. This is the command which we would use once we have an application or a file to run on. Yeah, so this was to just to get familiar with the Cloud Shell console, how we can work on, and some of the commands of the G-Cloud. So if I have something later on, I would show that in the next class. But this is what I have for now. The basic understanding of the big data and Google App Engine.
Sana, should we add the project name after this one? G Cloud App Deploy? And
I think we actually we don't have anything to deploy here, like a file which would run. So I don't have that one. So
Yeah,
this is
currently it's showing like error, the G-Cloud app deploy I did now.
yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
it's giving error like it's not present, like valid directory is not there.
Yeah, so I just said that it is a command. Once we work on the files, like once we write, if you're writing Python code and you have that application ready, then this command work word with this command would work, like gcloud app deploy, and the name of that, the file or the starting file. So here, this is just the command that I have provided. One, I don't have an application for now to show it. So I just started with the initial part. I have just shown that. So in case I get a chance to build a small app, and then I can show that uh, later. Yeah, we need, after this G-Cloud app deploy, we also need to provide the application that we want to deploy. So we would also provide the application name after this. Yeah, that's it from my side, Tim. It was an introduction.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. It was really good. Manjula, go ahead. Stop the recording. All right. Who wants to go?